Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
The truth shall set you free.
You can't handle the truth.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
That's not how the Force works. Oh, really? You're cold?
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Hasta la vista, baby.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
Hello and welcome back to the Creative Control Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Kenan, and thank you for joining us, our latest episode. Joining me from the Creative Control team this week, it's a fuller house than normal. We have our regulars, Neil and Sacha, and we also welcome back this year, Lee and Sal. How you doing, gents?
I'm good.
Very well, thanks. You all good?
Good. Yeah, no, I'm really good, thank you. Anybody had some interesting stories in the last week? Anything to shout about? Any been up to anything?
Not much, but
dead silence. We're all so old.
It's January.
It's January, exactly.
Dry January, right? Okay.
You already know what I'm getting up to.
Yeah, Neil's got some stuff in the works. Mm-hmm. He's got some stuff in the works. Myself, it's been catching up on series and movies this beginning of this year, kind of thing. So I realised, obviously, I hadn't done my top 10 list of 2020. And I started thinking, I'm actually looking at like the Golden Globes and the Writers Guild Awards and stuff like that. There's lots of stuff I hadn't seen yet. So I've been trying to catch up on a lot of those. So a couple of shout outs, actually, if you haven't watched them already. One is The Menu. In the UK, it's currently available on Disney Plus. Fantastic. It's like a horror / thriller. It's just, I never saw a trailer going into it, and it's so much the better for it. So the less you know about this movie, the better. And you know what was a really surprise hit, which I really enjoyed, was Puss in Boots, The Final Wish or something, whatever it was called. My God, that film is so good. It is so much fun. And it has got one of the best animated villains I have seen in many, many years in The Wolf. You guys should check it out. It's a short movie, but I was really surprised by that. Could be DreamWorks back on form in that kind of area of their
check it out over the weekend.
Yeah, no, definitely. Anybody else seen any movies recently they want to give a shout out? Neil, you saw Megan, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think? Because I've seen a lot of love for it online.
Do you know what? It's weird. The film is, from a technical standpoint, there's nothing innovative about this film.
Mm-hmm.
This film is as generic as it could be, but damn it, I loved it.
Right. Cool.
I mean, I think I know Andreas is probably going to like sharpen his pitchfork and throw it at me, but I give it an 8 out of 10.
Cool. Wow. Andreas doesn't like much anymore. He's just his palate is, I think, he's dipping. His tolerance is dropping. It's hard to please that guy right now. But obviously, I think the one thing we've all of us who see it so far, The Last of Us, great series. Go check it out. Uh-huh. Doesn't matter if you've played the game or not. Go check that out. It is wow, exactly. But anyway, this week's episode, what are we here to talk about? So we are here. We're going to be talking Knives Out 3. So obviously during sort of the Christmas period, we got the sequel to Knives Out, and it was Glass Onion, a Knives Out story, I think it's called, which the director was really unhappy about. He actually didn't want Knives Out in the title at all, and I agree. It's very, very bizarre because it doesn't tie into that at all. But hey, it is what it is. But it's done really, really well on Netflix, and I really enjoyed it. Probably not as much as the first. I think the first felt a little bit more grounded for me. This was a little bit more fantastical. But yeah, enjoyed another lesson. You know, he's already writing the script for the third. So we're here to talk about Knives Out 3, and we're going to put forward our suggestions for a cast for Knives Out 3, because obviously the first and second have got great casting, terrific actors giving some really great, fun performances, and now it's about, what's going to be next in store. So if you guys have got some ideas for the sequel, pitch them here. Rian Johnson might be listening. You'd be like, "Yep, I'll take that idea." But yeah, we're going to try and come up with a list of characters each, and then we're going to try and consolidate maybe to like a final 10. We'll see how we go, because I think there's going to be a lot of opinions here. So, does anybody kind of want to go first with their list, or even a pitch for Knives Out 3?
I think you should go first.
I should go first. All right, I'll go first. I can do this.
I said Lee. I think Lee should go first.
Oh, Lee. Okay, all right. Lee's been nominated. Lee's been nominated. So, Lee,
Okay.
what do you want to do? Have you got a pitch, or have you just got a cast list?
Well, yeah, because the cast, it kind of revolves around my idea, for the pitch, really. So, yeah, I don't say Neil might copyright me on this, but it's it could revolve around a Comic-Con kind of event. Possibly whether it be on the actual, on the main floor, or whether it's going on behind the scenes. But I thought it could be a kind of casting of people that have grudges against the MCU or the DCU. So my cast with ideas, I thought maybe Henry Cavill, because he's got a grudge with the Superman. And then I thought I got Michael Keaton in there because he was meant to be brought back as Batman, so he's got grudge. Hal Berry.
Who dies? James Gunn.
But that's the thing. It's just I thought, well, I could probably chuck in a load of casts. So I've got there's quite a few actually. Like Ben Affleck was another one. Who else we got? Scarlett Johansson for the Black Widow.
Nice.
Eric Bana because of the Hulk. And I thought you could actually throw two of the same character, so you could put Mark Ruffalo in there, so you have two Hulks having a conversation and trying to wrangle their way back in. So I've just listed a load of cast members that I think could have beef with either other cast members or the creators behind the scenes of the MCU, DCU.
Yeah. I could just see Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton just be going, "I'm Batman, I'm Batman, I'm Batman." So, that's really interesting. That sounds like a load of fun. If you have the license to do that with those, I mean, to be honest, a lot of superhero characters are actually out there, aren't they? So it's not like you don't get mentions of Superman and Batman in Marvel movies and vice versa. Those kind of names kind of do flip around a little bit. So, you definitely, so I don't see why you couldn't name drop those characters.
Wait, didn't they just do that movie? Didn't they just do that exact same movie? They actually did that movie. It was called Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Very similar. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, that movie was great. Or Comic-Con is a great idea, or even an award show. So if you did it at the Oscars or something like that, maybe Ricky Gervais is in it, he gets killed, and everyone thinks it's because he said something offensive to someone, but obviously he's offended everyone, so everyone's a suspect.
Shall I give you the list that I had? Do you need
go for it. Go for it.
So I had Henry Cavill, Michael Keaton, Hal Berry, Tobey Maguire, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lawrence, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe, Anna Paquin, Robert Downey Jr., Eric Bana, Scarlett Johansson, and Jon Favreau.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
How do you leave off Andrew Garfield?
Well, because he seems quite happy. Tobey Maguire's not. He's angry.
I was going to say Andrew Garfield now. He's like, look, they love me. Why did you give me another one?
I was going to say, if you're going to do it in Comic-Con, you have to have Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
that's true.
No Kevin Smith on that. Yeah.
You know what? Just thinking about it, I love the idea. I swear to you, I feel like Ben Affleck would probably be the choice of killer simply because Daredevil was not well received. Yes, was not well received. He's just I'm hurting in both arenas.
Because that would be good, because if Kevin Smith was in it, it'd be like Jay and Silent Bob with Ben Affleck, where they take the mick out of him for prostitutes and drugs or something.
No, that's Knives Out 3. Let's move on to Knives Out 4. So okay, that's a really good pitch and some good names there, Lee. Nicely done. Who wants to go next? Neil? So this is also an audio podcast, so you do need to shout out. But Neil slowly raised his hand on the video. So yeah, Neil, go for it.
I raised my hand for the hardcore people who actually watch us on YouTube.
Yeah. I suppose it's those YouTube Premium members where the video is still playing in the background, so they might not even be watching it, but they might still be listening to it. But hey. Okay, so give us your list, Neil. Or do you have a premise as well?
I do.
Okay. I didn't do my homework, damn. Okay, go for it, Neil.
Okay, I did, as I said to you just before we started, I had 2 ideas, but I feel like I'm just going to bang you with one of them. It was basically not so dissimilar to Lee's. It was the crew of a Hollywood film. So they're out on location.
Just spare me one sec. Has someone got a fan on?
I think it's my fucking washing machine. Sorry. It's so loud.
Oh.
I'm trying to get away with it. I'm trying.
No, you know what? I'll leave that in. I'm not even going to cut it. Leave it in.
For those who are not watching us and just listening, if you saw the look on Sal's face when he looked and realized what that sound was, that was Knives Out 3 right there.
There's me trying to get the perfect podcast audio, and it's like, I don't care anymore. I'm not going to be splicing this, so leave it in. Washing machine and everything. Right, Neil, sorry to interrupt. Carry on.
Right. So, it was the cast of a Hollywood film, and the film they're making is based on the last book that was written by Harlan Thornby, who is the author who in Knives Out 1.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So I just wanted to kind of mix and mingle it together. So it's that. And my cast are Julia Roberts, J.K. Simmons, Salma Hayek, Henry Golding, Eddie Murphy, Michelle Pfeiffer, Dave Chappelle, is it Aquafina? Jean-Claude Van Damme, John Leguizamo, Lupita Nyong'o, Will Smith, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's a lot of people there.
That's a lot of people. I tried to get most of them down, but right, okay. That's a really good cast. Look, I think for what me that comes right off the bat, J.K. Simmons, I think is a fantastic shout. I'm trying to think, did he make my list? He didn't on this one, but he was going to be for like if I did Knives Out 4, I was kind of saving him a bit. Henry Golding's a good shout. Dave Chappelle, Aquafina, yeah, that's a really good shout. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Funnily enough, he's actually been in every single one of Rian Johnson's movies, even the Star Wars and stuff like that. But in the Knives Out movies, so the first one, he is the voice of a news reporter that's heard on the TV when the family are in the kitchen near the beginning.
Yeah,
and then in Glass Onion, he's actually the sound of the hourly gong. So that's his voice just going gong. That's it. But yeah, it's uncredited, but he's there.
I'd shove him in the film proper. Let him be there.
Yeah, put him in there. No, that's a really good cast. I like the premise. That's a really nice tie into the first one where, yeah, like you say, it's a film set based on the last book that the writer did from the first film. Kind of brings that around a little bit. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. I like that. Okay, Sacha, Sal, do you want to go?
I can go if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so I have an issue. Like the amount of the names, I didn't really think of the names that properly. I thought of characters actually. It's because I watch a lot of murder mysteries, and every time I think of this thing, I keep on thinking of a particular show or a different movie, and I try to make sure that they don't cross over essentially. Yeah. But as this is like the old school, Murder of the Nile, that's just type of movie. I thought we should avoid that as well. So, for first flick was like a family. The second flick was people socializing with each other. Basically, they were friends, sort of. I was wondering, maybe now we have a cast of people who work together, maybe in a enclosed environment, sort of a thing. Like, let's ignore the ship, like the other movies. We have a house. Now we have an island. I don't know. Maybe look for a plane, or not maybe a plane, or a factory. A place where everybody's underneath the same roof and has easy access to each other, sort of a thing. So maybe a resort. See, the problem is, I was thinking of a resort, then I realized there's a whole bloody show on it as well. So, ignore the resort as well. So maybe a factory. Maybe some sort of an office where different offices maybe intermingle with each other. Maybe they have a place where they all sort of see each other, interact with each other, and maybe hate each other, may have different relationships with each other, stories, drama, the whole soap opera sort of a thing. And Benoit comes in and figures out which people in which office have a problem with which people, and the guy who's been murdered, let's say he's probably either the landlord of the building or one of the CEOs of one of the what I call the big offices in town in the building, and they all have an issue, that guy, because either that particular business runs all the other businesses, or that business is trying to take over all the businesses, and another sort of a thing. And the characters, I thought it'll be fun to have like the Office have a characters like the Office. You have the bozos, but they be played by, again, let's take what I call type of characters, like a superhero guy. So let's take Henry Cavill. You had the Scream Queen, who was in what I call #1 film. What's her name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Exactly. So let's get another horror movie queen in there, or a king, or something like that. Exactly. Neve Campbell. Yeah. Even on that, I couldn't afford Justin Long has been in a bunch of horror movies. So, that's what I thought of those characters. You have the big guys in movies, drama movies, thriller movies, and TV shows today as well, because they are bigger than the movie stars these days, by the way. And again, what I thought will be the brilliant thing to do is, in an environment where people are what I call basically mingle a lot with each other, but don't necessarily like each other, and they have lots more stories about each other than anybody else, because they are literally there every day, all day, 9 to 5. And that's what I thought would be a good idea this time to do, rather than, or maybe, it could be one of those places like the Google building, where everything's fancy. There's like a playroom and that sort of a thing. You see, he's interviewing a guy who's playing around with a pool table, and he's some sort of genius and makes some sort of coding or something like that. I mean, it could be really interesting if we come up with an atmosphere where people work, but an atmosphere that we do not recognize, that is something new, something hip, something more advanced. Let's put it that way. So,
Sorry, I didn't.
No, go.
Just thinking of what you said, I was like, what it could be. I'm not jumping in to hijack your idea. Is if you have two companies are merging, and then everyone. So if you say you had 10 people, like five are from one company, 5 are from the other company, but each of the 5 do the same job. So it's clearly they're there as it's a get together, and we're gonna find out who's gonna have that job permanently, and who might be made redundant. And everybody
that is the Office. Where they merge with Swindon.
Exactly. But here we're killing people off.
But that's it. It's like who has the most to gain from this? Exactly. Well, it's like, the superhero guy and the Scream Queen were both going for supervisor, and it was like, it's like, who's gonna win? The girl who can't be killed, or the guy who can, bullets bounce off of him. And I was like, he's on the screen.
I was actually thinking, in a way, I was very near to your idea, but my thought was this, because I work with a lot of these companies. There are a lot of brand management companies, or a lot of companies that tend to invest into other companies, and they tend to have one massive headquarters, and they bring the headquarters of the new acquired company into their own fold. And when they do bring them in, they have to merge within the, let's say, the hierarchy of the company. And here where most of the tension comes, because the old CEO, still technically the still CEO, but has a boss to now report to, right? And suddenly the hierarchy has shifted because they were the boss before. Since they've sold the company and decided to stay on and have some shareholders, they've become second in command sort of a thing. And they're not technically second in command because they kind of report to like the whole management company, the management team of the company that has acquired them. And I've been to a bunch of companies like this where small companies are coming and going because they've just sold another one or they bought another one, brought them in, decided they didn't like this, sold them, and drama. It's hilarious. If you just sit there in the break room and watch people come in and going, getting pissed off, what is happening? Were they going to go to work today or not go to work today? Are they getting any bonuses? That sort of thing. Oh, we thought that we would get when we get acquired, we'll get a bonus. Or when we get sold off, we'll get a bonus. Who's getting fired? Who's not getting fired? Is that guy sleeping with that guy or that girl sleeping with that girl? That sort of. It's like a full micro. What I call micros within a company itself. And prone
micro civilization.
Exactly. If there are bonuses, you could chuck Chevy Chase in there from was it Christmas Vacation?
Yeah, but
go and kidnap your boss.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, think of that. I'm just thinking now, maybe it's almost like a Wall Street type of situation might work as well, because you can have some really eccentric characters there. So it's kind of like it's like Glass Onion meets Wolf of Wall Street kind of thing. You know, it could be something like that as well. But like, so for instance, they're all going obviously for commissions, going for bonuses. There's one particular company which they're all trying to pitch for or something like that. Someone gets taken out. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I mean, for me, I think that for the next one is going to be the location. It kind of is important because I did like the first one where it's a house in one setting.
I did too.
That was kind of cool. A Glass Onion again. It was a little bit bigger, but again, you kind of had that feeling. I like the idea of it potentially being more close quarters, like a plane. I think that could be really interesting. So it's a lot more self-contained, and he has to solve it, you know, before they land, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe there's a time factor on it as well, because maybe they're going over a border, so he has to identify someone it is, because by the time they get on the other side,
no longer
they'll be out of jurisdiction or something like that. Yeah, so something like that maybe. So the time constraint might be quite cool. So okay,
and there was a plane like a plane like 280, which is more like a city. It's like 500 people on top of that plane.
Yeah, it's got the double layers. You got a bar area.
Exactly,
and all that kind of stuff,
they've got showers and everything going on. But one thing I missed that I should have said: a lot of these companies, when they get acquired and sold off, they're not necessarily doing the same stuff. Like a bank would be there, a company that is, you know, makes shoes, a company that makes toiletries, a company that just makes, you know, blankets. You'll have different types of personalities within them as well, because people working in a blanket shop aren't the people you'll find in a bank. But they all are owned by one company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Sounds cool.
All right, Sash, do you have a pitch? Do you have a cast list? What do you got?
He's got everything.
Just got a cast list. I don't really have much of a story or anything.
Cool.
But like, if I was, you said 10, I had to do 11. I had 11.
Go for it.
But here's Sacha's 11. John Travolta, Brie Larson, Pam Grier, Zoe Saldana.
Hang on. So go a little bit slower. So you got John Travolta, Brie Larson, Pam Grier. Where do we know her from?
Pam Grier, Jackie Brown, Foxy Brown.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Zoe Saldana, Zendaya, Mark Hamill, Nicole Kidman.
Dude, is that a list of people you want to see naked?
Yeah, pretty much. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
yeah, I'm with you.
Timothy Dalton, John Boyega, and Danny Dyer.
I don't think you want to see John Boyega.
John Travolta, because he could play you know, he's the kind of guy you want in a thriller, because especially for older audiences, because most of us will roll our eyes and be like, oh my God, well, he's the fucking guy, right? You know, because of the 90s, right? If anyone's seen Face Off or Broken Arrow or whenever he's made the switch,
Nicolas Cage.
Whenever he's made the switch, it's like, you know, it's always John Travolta. But I would actually have John Travolta play a guy that's a straight arrow, just doing his job. You know what I mean? So kind of like you know, the bait and switch kind of character, where you know, because you know, he's just got that thing about him that Gary Sinise had in the 90s, where when Gary Sinise would show up, everyone's like, it's fucking
he's
him.
a bad guy.
You know? It worked once, you're not fooling us again. You know what I mean? So with John Travolta, it's kind of like a callback to that, because everyone's going to think it's him, but it's not him. You know what I mean? He's just a guy. He's just a guy that, has a stick up his ass, and you know, that's just it. He's just doing his job. Brie Larson, mainly because, you know what, pre-Captain Marvel, okay, she was always in a lot of smaller projects where she'd show her range and why, you know, what she can do, etc. Post Captain Marvel, you know, she's kind of done a bit bigger movies like Kong Skull Island and stuff like that. And the thing is, it's kind of like, her reputation outside of her actual acting has taken a hit, because all the trolls that don't like her are just kind of like, oh, she's a shit actress, but that's because they've only really fucking seen her in one fucking movie. You know what I mean? Which they all don't like. And it would be cool to see her chew the furniture in a film, in a genre that requires your A game, just showing everyone why she's Brie Larson.
She was in Room, right?
And, yes, where she was phenomenal. She won the Oscar for it, and rightfully so. So, you know, that's why I'd cast Brie Larson, to basically tell the naysayers fuck off, and literally show another side of her to a wider audience that probably don't know her earlier works. And if you look at all my casting decisions here, it's literally to get a different side of actors from a general audience that don't really know much of their work, and literally, you know what I mean, like, give us something a bit different that we haven't seen before. You know, with a few familiars, aka John Travolta, because I just think he'd be great to throw people off the scent of the mystery. You know, so you know, so that's Travolta. The Rock as well. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson hasn't pushed himself in like ever. You know what I mean? He's got the charisma. So to have him in something to really push himself would be phenomenal, really. And again, you know, if you give him a role such as in a like. Look at what it did for Batista. Batista was fantastic in that last film. So Rian Johnson should take that and just turn it into something, man. So that's why I picked Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, mainly because, you know, he could surprise us with something if they write a role really cool for him. Pam Grier, mainly because she's fucking Pam fucking Grier. Ken just said just now, who the fuck is Pam Grier? I'm like, it's back Jackie fucking Brown, bitch. You know, like fair enough, okay, fair enough. Pam Grier, you know, huge action star, probably the OG woman ass kicker of the 1970s, the number one. She didn't get written out by, and she didn't even get written out by Hollywood. She chose to leave. She was just like, I'm just known to be, you know, kicking people's asses in movies. I want to do something different, and if that doesn't come along, then fine. And then 20 years later, fucking Quentin Tarantino finds her, because he was a huge, you know, he was a huge Pam Grier fan. So he was like, no, she's Jackie Brown. And, you know, she's been in quite a lot of stuff over the years, but never really the A-listing kind of person, you know what I mean, that, you know, you'd expect for her to be. And, you know, I think a Knives Out movie is the perfect vehicle for her to do what she's great at, and also something a little bit different, because she doesn't have to go fisticuffs with 100 guys, or you know what I mean, whatever.
She was doing comedy the last 2 years in Bless Us Mess.
So
she did a couple of episodes of This Is Us. So she's definitely got range.
And I know she's old now, but hell, they had Jamie Lee Curtis in one of the other ones. So
and she looks
fucking
good.
Pam Grier. Fucking Pam Grier. Just bring her back, man. Bring her back. Like, I actually thought after Jackie Brown, we'd see her in a slew of movies, and we did, but not to the same extent, you know? Anyway, moving on. Mark Hamill. End of.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Mark Hamill, live action in something other than fucking Star Wars. All right?
Yeah.
Okay? Like, everyone knows what he's like because of, like, his animated series work and whatnot. How about we do that on the big screen? You know what I mean? Have him be some villainous kind of conniving guy. Don't have him as the big bad, because for some of us that'd be a bit too obvious. But if he was to bring that Joker live action, or have someone that was very eccentric, that people like to loathe, he could pull that off in his sleep. And for the wider audience, it might actually surprise them, because they'll be like, Luke Skywalker ain't doing shit. You know what I mean? Like, it destroys the image, you know? Whereas us in the know, we're like, you guys don't know Mark Hamill, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah. Nicole Kidman, because she's fucking Nicole Kidman. Do I need to explain it anymore, really?
No.
That as well as with Nicole Kidman, I don't think... Yeah, she's been in a lot of Oscar baity kind of movies over the past couple of years, and, you know, a lot of indie flicks. But, you know, I think what the franchise of Knives Out has done is made that genre, put it back into the mainstream, where it can go toe-to-toe with, like, all the big... You know, it's now an event thing, because those two films now, you know, everyone, you know, the buzz is everyone can't wait for the next one. So, you know, it's on that plateau. So, and that's the beauty of it with acting and actors, you know, it gives them the voice kind of thing. Timothy Dalton, because he's the most underrated James Bond ever, and because he needs to be in more movies. Okay, Doom Patrol steals the show. It's fucking Timothy Dalton, man. Just give my man work.
Just brilliant.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz. Yeah, Hot Fuzz. So, yeah. The other person, John Boyega, come on, man, because he fucking rules. Yeah, I mean, I want to see John Boyega in a lot more bigger stuff, and I think Rian Johnson owes him, so... Sort out John.
I'm not sure he'd want to work with Johnson again.
You fucked him over, so, you know. And then Danny fucking Dyer. Okay,
this was a head scratcher.
Okay, no, it's not a head. It's not a head scratcher. It totally isn't. All right, Danny Dyer in Human Traffic was fucking amazing. He was the breakout star of that. If you ever watched him, if you ever watched Severance, he was the show stealer of the movie Severance. Okay, every scene, guy steals it. All right. Problem is, not even problem is with Danny Dyer. He chased the money and ended up in the British film DVD bin with all the wannabe lock stock fucking movies, okay? And then he did EastEnders, and there's nothing wrong with EastEnders, because his role in EastEnders, what he did, he basically said, I don't want to play no fucking gangster. He played against type. He played a family man for the past, like, 10 years. You know, if you watch him in that, and if you do watch EastEnders, he has gravitas. He has a lot more range than a lot of people give him credit for. And now he quit EastEnders to follow the Hollywood thing and follow the acting thing, to be in more roles and stuff. And I think one of the biggest things was he was just gutted that he wasn't cast in Game of Thrones. So, you know what I mean? Like, give him a chance, man. Give him a chance. He could be the family man. He could be a villain. He could be a Cockney gangster. He could be comic relief. The guy can do it all. And you know what I mean? If he's not going to be on the British TV for every week, just put him in Knives Out, mate. Put him in Knives Out, mate. It's not a head scratcher at all.
Do you know what? If you think of some of the films he's been in, when you said it was like thinking of him, I'm like, Human Traffic, yeah, he was dope in that.
Yeah.
Apparently
like,
there's a Human Traffic 2 coming.
Yeah, like
that's right.
Dope in that.
Yeah, Mean Machine, yeah.
Football Factory, he was really good in that. Surprisingly good in that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of British actors that we see on TV here that've never seen the day of light outside UK. They can be brilliant in films. They just don't get the chance.
But this is just it. He is that guy.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he is that guy. He's that cheeky chappy that we know and see in the pub all the time in Britain.
Yeah.
And we don't have that as a movie star.
No.
We don't. We completely missed it. What the Americans do, they come to England, they see that stereotype, and they try to want to emulate it. Like Don Cheadle in Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Was that just hire Danny Dyer? You know what I mean? Like
Ray Winston.
Oh, Ray Winston.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, for example, like Olivia Colman, before she got the Oscar and everything, she did basically TV here. And until somebody, put her in a film that actually went overseas and people saw the talent, and rightly so, she got an Oscar. And that's the thing. There's so many of them on TV that we see that can easily be put into films like this, and they'll be better than all the actors that were in that film, especially the last one.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys?
So,
sorry, go on.
So I've got one more name.
Yeah.
The bonus name. This guy's the murderer.
Uh-huh.
This guy's the killer. Stone Cold Killer. And the reason, he only ever plays nice guys in movies.
I thought he was going to say Stone Cold Steve Austin.
So did I. No. I can't put the Rock and Stone. I can't put the Rock and Stone Cold in the same thing.
I have no idea what I would do.
Throw John Cena in there as well. Let's go.
I'm going to disappoint you. All right, this guy I'd want to have him be the killer because in all his filmography, he has never played a straight-up bad individual. Okay? Never.
Will Smith?
Never. Will Smith.
Yeah.
Will Smith. My man not taking no Oscars homes, but you know what? My man's going to prove to the time come home that he don't need one. His filmography's good. You know what I mean? Seriously, you make him the killer, you have him do his new normal shtick throughout the whole movie till the twist comes. Whole audience will be taken by surprise. They'll be like, "What? Will Smith? Get the fuck out of here! I thought it was John Travolta." You know what I mean? Like,
what I want to happen is, so Will Smith has a wife in this movie, and she's considered a lot as I want them to direct her to be the killer, and everyone starts accusing her. So then he just turns around, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth.
And Danny Dyer is the comedian.
You know what? In my head, I visualize when everyone's arguing. I just visualize The Rock saying something, and then Will Smith kind of stepping up to him, and the two of them are like nose to nose, and Danny Dyer is the one separating them.
Did you see Eddie Murphy's acceptance speech?
Yes. Rules to live by. Rules to live by.
You know what the joke is, right? Those rules to live by. You know, all three of those rules relate to Will Smith.
Yeah.
I was like, he's showing why he was the master. Just going too far.
Yeah. Chris Rock has got a special out, I think, in March on Netflix. So that's going to be interesting. That's
Oscar time.
If I was him, I'd release it on Oscar weekend. That'd be the way to go.
That's totally why they're doing it. That's brilliant.
Right, so okay, I'm going to give my list for Knives Out 3. So right, here we go. So first up I've got Billy Bob Thornton. I think he's a fantastic actor, and I kind of rediscovered him again, like with Fargo. I thought he was just fantastic. I love that series. But yeah, him in the Fargo TV series, phenomenal. Miles Teller. I think he's a super talented actor. Whiplash, obviously he did his turn as Goose's son in Top Gun Maverick, so he's got a bit of a profile again at the moment, and let's put Fantastic Four to bed. That's what it is. But I'd love to see him up in there. Paul Dano, this man can do no wrong. He was the Riddler in the Batman, this movie. He was in The Fabelmans, Spielberg's latest movie. Just fantastic talent. Riz Ahmed, again, I think he's just really underrated, but he's such a talented character actor. He's won a lot of plaudits for his TV work, and I think this kind of vehicle with that kind of ensemble is something that he could really delve into, because I know that he's had his big blockbusters in terms of Venom and stuff like that, but I'm not about that. Daniel Kaluuya, again,
brilliant.
He's just brilliant. For Get Out, Nope, Black Panther, he's just phenomenal. And I think him again in an ensemble cast will just he can really deliver. Andrew Garfield, I think again he's a great character. He had a really good sort of like probably 2021. Tick Tick Boom and Spider-Man and that kind of stuff. And, I think he's had a couple of movies out last year, which I don't think I actually got to see. They're on my list, but absolutely brilliant. Florence Pugh, again, up and comer. I'm thinking it was potentially her or Anna Taylor-Joy. But from what I saw with Anna Taylor-Joy in the menu, I was like, I'm going to leave that for now. Maybe she can come in a little bit later. So that's why kind of Florence Pugh got the head for me. Viola Davis, phenomenal actress. Again, was it Warrior King?
Woman King,
sorry. Yeah. Fantastic. She's obviously in the DCEU as well. Fantastic. Jeffrey Wright, Commissioner Gordon from the Batman and Westworld and stuff like that. Yeah. Again, a super talented actor. Kate Blanchett, she's probably one of the best actors of the last 20 years. She is fantastic. She does, so many varying roles and stuff like that. I think, anything she does is crazy. Michelle Yeoh, again, really on top form right now. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, really in the public eye, super. And one of my favourite British actors, pretty much anything he does, I watch it. Stephen Graham. From like Boiling Point was like probably the last big movie he does. I know he was in Venom too, but that's a good payday. But I just love him. All the like BBC and ITV dramas and everything that he does, he is just on point, and absolutely love seeing him in anything and everything he does. So Stephen Graham is that's my last one.
Yeah.
So that's my list. I didn't come up with a premise, but you guys covered that, so fantastic. There is so many names and variations, I don't think we can nail it down to a top 10, so I'm not even going to try. Is there any names that anybody else has mentioned where you're like, I really see that and I want to see that person in this kind of movie? I know there's a lot of names thrown out there.
I want to see both Lee's and Salmon.
Yeah.
Recently watching that Ishibirin, what's it called? Banshee of Ishibirin. Colin Farrell's and what's his name? The other guy who could have chopped his fingers off. Both of them, they are brilliant and they can do anything. Now, I mean, at least I can see
Brendan
Gleeson, exactly.
Yeah, Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah.
He is fantastic.
They're brilliant and very understated and very. I mean, they literally take the screen and you see them. That's all you see. But at the same time, they're very subtle. They're not big on screen, essentially.
Yeah.
But the brilliant film. I just didn't like the ending.
Yeah. Some of the other names, some of the names that shout out, J.K. Simmons, absolutely. All on board for that. Michelle Pfeiffer, she could do that in her sleep. Awkwafina, definitely. Jean-Claude Van Damme, that's an interesting one.
Because I give you like my understanding for why I chose my cast. Right?
I'm not saying that's a bad choice. I'm thinking that's a really understated, smart choice because he has got the capabilities.
You look at Van Damme, right? Especially the films like JCVD, right? And like obviously he's all like, is it not Budweiser? Cause, like, right? I'm like, he is hilarious. And just give him a role where I don't need to see you kick someone's ass. But in saying that, I'm like, one of the reasons I want him in there is a story that Liam Hemsworth gave. You guys remember
I know the story.
story?
I know the story. Yeah.
Liam Hemsworth is in Expendables 2 alongside Jean-Claude Van Damme. And Jean-Claude Van Damme kicks him in the chest, right? In the film and in real life. And when Liam Hemsworth was like, yo, it hurts, you kick me in the chest, he was like, yeah, but it's a controlled kick. Yeah. I was like,
I heard another side to that. I heard another side to that story. I heard another side to that exact same story from Scott Adkins. He was literally next to Chris Hemsworth and was there before Liam Hemsworth received that kick. They were practicing on Scott Adkins because Scott Adkins has worked with Van Damme quite a few times. And Viking Samurai, his channel, check it out if you're into hardcore action movies. That guy actually gets actual producers of the 80s action movies and stuff on there and stuff, people that worked on the Rambo movies and a lot of the Steven Seagal and Van Damme movies. He gets them all on there. And he had an interview. He had the best interview with Scott Adkins, okay? Scott Adkins is somebody who's always been on my radar, but I've never been a fan until that interview. And then I started watching a couple of his action films, like Accident Man and Accident Man 2. But he also did Hard Target 2, which wasn't that great. But, yeah, that's... I digress. But anyway, Scott Adkins was there, and they asked Viking Samurai asked him, so were you there when he hit Liam Hemsworth with the controlled with the controlled kick? And Scott Adkins was just like, well, we didn't hit him any harder than he's ever hit me, and like, to be quite honest, if that's Helmsworth's threshold, then yeah. And then he was just like, ooh, Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like seriously, they're all he was like, say that to a stunt guy who Jean-Claude Van Damme works with all the time. They'll all laugh at Liam Hemsworth, because to be honest, he said, out of everybody that's worked with stunt people in general, Van Damme's one of the people look up to because he respects his stunt people, unlike Steven Seagal. But
yeah. But I don't think anyone's hit. I don't think anyone's hit Liam Hemsworth as hard as Miley Cyrus has with her last song. That's some bullshit.
I bet he's there like, Van Damme, go get it.
Yeah. But you got to think about it this way as well. Liam Hemsworth hasn't really done an action movie like what everybody else on Expendables.
Well, he's the new Witcher.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be the new Witcher.
I think though we have to give Liam Hemsworth a little break, right? We're laughing a bit at it, but we have to give him a break because at the same time, we know Scott Adkins can kick off. So we know that he is, like, you press his chest and you're like, oh, so this is what they make statues out of. Liam Hemsworth is, I'm not saying he's soft, but he's probably not that guy.
Well, so, he's the wrong Helmsworth, clearly.
Exactly.
Right? So I can imagine, like, I can imagine if I was in his position and Van Damme hit me with a controlled kick in the chest, I can imagine, like, you can make an origami swan out of the way I'm going to fold up.
Right, that's it. So any other suggestions, any other names that you guys want to drop?
Quickly, I had a bunch of other names that I didn't throw in because it was like a whole separate idea.
Yeah.
So I won't say the idea, but I'll just say the people who were involved. Okay, there's Oprah Winfrey, Morgan Freeman, Jennifer Lewis, Carl Weathers, Angela Bassett, Keith David, Charlize Theron, Lawrence Fishburne, Megan Good, Shauna Latham, Regina King, John David Washington, Gemma Chan, Lashana Lynch, Jay Ellis, Zendaya, Issa Rae, Simu Lee, Samara Weaving, Deborah Ann Wall, J.K. Simmons. I said J.K. Simmons, right? No.
Wow. I don't care what that movie is, but I want to see it. So.
I have a couple. Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
Angelina Jolie. What was that? Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, that's a nice shout.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan and Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson got the cut because he's in every extended universe anyway. So I was just like, you know what you're going to get with him in that kind of movie. It's going to be like a Quentin movie. You know what I mean? You're going to get good Samuel. You know what I mean? Like he's good in everything, but I mean you're going to get exceptionally good Samuel. But I just thought, nah, you know what? Someone is going to mention Samuel Jackson anyway. But no one did. No one did. But which I'm actually quite shocked at. But he was on there for a long time. But then Will Smith just kind of I was like, no, Will Smith is the guy because he's never been the guy. And then the other person, Pierce Brosnan got kicked out because I was just thinking, I want a James Bond in there. And then I was just like, obviously Pierce Brosnan is like my Bond, but so is Dalton. And the difference is that Dalton is so underrated that a lot of people aren't really familiar with his work. You know what I mean? At all. Yeah. Whereas with Pierce Brosnan, when Pierce Brosnan walks out in the shower, he's still James Bond. You know what I mean? When my man's pretending he's something else, everyone's like, it's James Bond. You know what I mean? Yeah. My man played like an old man with a pipe in like that Will Ferrell movie. He's still James Bond. You know what I mean? Like you just can't escape it. Whereas Timothy Dalton,
it's like the Thomas Crown affair. Even though he's stealing something, he's still James Bond.
Yeah, he's still James Bond. Whereas Timothy Dalton, he's a lot older now, and he only did 2 films, 2 of the best films ever. Like just putting it out there.
License to Kill is probably still top 3.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realise that. Like, don't even, probably haven't seen License to Kill or
a lot of people
Living
sleep on those
Daylights.
2 films.
Yeah, exactly. And he's always lower in the listing as well. So I'm just like, no, man, this guy's a fantastic actor. Flash Gordon, fucking, what was the film? Rocketeer. Yeah, I mean, he's... Put him in a movie. I
agree with you. I did not know of...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I agree with it. I don't think I saw what are called Dalton's James Bond movies until they came on TV one day and I watched them. Yeah. I did not know him from that. I knew him from the TV shows and especially like Penny Dreadful and now Doom Patrol and a bunch of others. Even he was in Doctor Who, I think. A bunch of other TV shows before and a couple of movies Fuzz. Yeah, he's in Fuzz, right?
Hot Fuzz, yeah.
Yeah. Simon Pegg's Hot Fuzz. So no, I didn't know him from what I call James Bond at all until I think one day one of the TV channels was showing it and I was like, oh shit, look at him. And he was pretty good.
Yeah.
I had 3 other names. David Hyde Pierce from Frasier.
Good choice.
I love him.
Yeah.
Sir Ian McKellen. Yeah, Sideshow Bob, exactly. Sir Ian McKellen and Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis, I think what he delivered in Andor was just fantastic. I absolutely loved him in that show, and I hope he gets nominated for an Emmy or something for that because that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I hope in season 2 we find out what happens, man.
I hope he managed to swim. I hope he managed to find out. Just float, bruv. Just float. Just float. Okay, that wraps up for this episode. So, sound off in the comments. What are the actors you'd like to see in Knives Out 3? How about the pitches that Lee, Neil, and Sal came up with? Which was your preference? Have you got any ideas of where you'd place the next Knives Out 3? Let us know. Thank you very much, John. Is there anything else you guys want to add? Anything you want to pimp out or talk about?
I was going to actually ask, did anybody watch the first one after the Glass Onion?
Watch Knives Out again after Glass Onion?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yes.
No.
Yeah, I did.
What do you thought?
What, Knives? Oh, watching them backwards? Oh, no, I watched them. Yeah. No, sorry. I thought you meant you mean for the first time?
No. What I mean to say is that after you watched the Glass Onion, did you go back and watch the Knives Out, the first one?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And
yes, I did.
What did you think?
Yeah, it was great. I liked it the first time.
All right. No. What I mean to say is that the reason I was asking is because I felt that the first one was much more concise. There wasn't that much.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
There's not a lot of time.
Twists and turns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think, do you know what? I think the problem is, and I could be very wrong, but Knives Out is a movie that Rian Johnson wanted to write and direct. Glass Onion is a movie that he wrote and directs, but I'm not going to say he was pressured, that's the wrong word to use, but I think other people wanted him to make this movie a little bit more than he probably wanted to make.
It was based off the success of the first one, as opposed to the first one being itself. Yeah, I mean, I thought as a story, the first one was better. You know, the whole, I figured out. I mean, I can see a lot of that coming. So, you know, I can see the murder mystery thing and him figuring that out, and then obviously something else happened. It's obviously once you see all the little things, if you go back and you do watch it again, you'll notice them. So the artistry and the way that it was played out on screen was great, because all those things happened, but it was just very blindsided and very quick. It's not like any of this stuff was hidden from you. You just didn't notice it. You know, like that movie, like the passing of the glass, the, you know, taking of the gun. It's the same shots.
Exactly.
But you just didn't see it. So, you know, technically it was very well done like that, because you're seeing the murder play out, where the other one, you see it obviously in a flashback and what he can see. So, you know, it's a very different take on it. But I think I've just preferred the first one more, where this one, even the Blanc character kind of was just more accentuated. You know, it was just, he was bigger, he was a lot more over the top, where the first one was a lot more subtle, a lot more like Poirot and Columbo kind of thing. Very more subdued. And but, you know, it's his character at the end of the day. And, you know, I think this one, you know, maybe it was just more like, just go for it, just have some more fun with it, and it'll be interesting to see what tone he takes with the other one, where it's going to be a continuation, or if he changes it completely to something else. So
the other thing I was thinking was maybe the epidemic had an impact on the story, maybe the way they could shoot it, because they were apparently shooting it during what I call the quarantine
COVID
time.
the quarantine time.
I wonder if they had to change the stories or change the scenes in order to get it done, because they couldn't otherwise do it due to the fact that some sort of limitations on the shooting.
They did have the masks on, didn't they, when they were getting onto the boat?
True.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of like them both the same, to be honest. I don't dislike one, but then I've always kind of been into a bit of the murder mystery genre, because like I grew up on stuff with like Poirot and what was it, Columbo. Columbo's my all-time favorite G, man. So like this is just like a modern day version of that. So
yeah, definitely.
These days, I mean, I'm loving that TV show called only what I call Murders in a Building, or is it only
Killers in the Building?
Is it only Killers in the Building?
No, you're right. I think it is Only Murderers in the Building.
Yeah, something like that. It's pretty good. It's with Steve. Oh my God,
Steve Martin.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's hilarious. Anyway.
I'm saying they need to fling Chevy Chase in there just for one episode. So you know, there's a
Meryl Streep.
I
think Meryl Streep's joined the cast of the new series. So
really,
I got.
Ooh, look at that!
Oh, hello.
Oh, 25 best detectives of all time. Okay, is this?
Should I read it out?
Is this TV and movie detectives?
This is the best detectives of all time. Yeah. I won't read all that.
Give us like the top 5.
Right. Top 5. Okay. Yeah. Let's go top 5.
I'm just
before you start, which magazine is that in, so Sacha can kick somebody's ass if Columbo ain't in there?
Am I allowed to say?
Yeah, I don't get paid for this.
Yeah. He's not sponsored.
Total film, right? Okay.
Total film. Okay.
If Columbo ain't in there,
there'll be anarchy, man.
Knives are on.
There are some good. Can I do a top 10?
Go on, do a top 10 then.
All right. So Lisbeth Salander.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Who's that? Oh, right,
yeah. John Luther.
Luther. Okay.
Number 9. Jack Jake Gittis from Jack Nicholson, Chinatown.
Okay, Chinatown.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
And the two Jakes, because there were two movies.
Two movies, yeah.
Marge Gunderson, Fargo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Original.
Movie. Oh, so Columbo ain't in here because it's
probably
not,
movies.
It's movies,
Yeah.
not they're allowed.
But Luther's in the movie.
TV show.
Yeah.
But it's a movie now.
Hasn't come out yet. Doesn't count.
Poirot number 6.
Oh, there you go. Poirot number 6. Okay.
Yeah, but Poirot was in movies before the series, so you know, just David Suchet.
Yeah, they've got a picture of Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, they got a Branagh
picture
version.
of Kenneth Branagh. Yeah. But they have listed the other actors that have played him.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Clarice Starling,
Silence of the
Wow.
Lambs.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
number 5.
See, they're going for the characters, not the
Bit
actors.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Spade,
Some more.
Oh yeah.
Humphrey Bogart,
Humphrey Bogart. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Rick Deckard,
Yeah.
Deckard. Okay.
Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah.
and Philip Marlowe.
For number 1.
Who?
That's number 1.
Philip Marlowe.
Who's Philip Marlowe? What?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Who does?
What movie
character is
Marlowe,
that?
Humphrey Bogart, Elliot Gould, Robert Mitchum, and Liam Neeson. The Big Sleep, The Long Goodbye, Farewell My Love.
Ah,
The
right.
Big Sleep, Marlowe.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay.
The Big Sleep I've seen years ago, but you know, I think I watched The Maltese Falcon more. So yeah.
Right.
Detective Philip Marlowe. I wouldn't have pegged them at number 1. So
Can you tell me where Columbo was in that list, please?
There's no
Tell you where what?
Columbo.
In the top 25, can you tell me where Columbo got?
He's not a movie. He's not a movie actor. It's fine. It's movie characters, not TV PIs, man. If it's TV PIs,
No, he's number 22.
Number 22.
Number 22. He's there.
22, bro.
Is there? Is he top 1? Is he higher than Angela Lansbury? As long as he's higher than
Axel
Angela
Foley's in
Lansbury
there.
and
Special
Quincy.
shout outs to Axel Foley.
Yeah, nice.
Bud White, Frank Bullitt, Dirty Harry,
All right.
Isn't that Harry Callahan?
William Somerset.
Oh yeah, 7.
Use article.
Interesting. Interesting. As total film.
Okay. Well,
Total Film, yeah.
editor-in-chief of Total Film, you number 22, you expect to dodge and duck 22 times. It's coming.
Yeah, Columbo should have been higher, bro. Columbo should have been higher.
That's her details, Satch. You want to get in touch?
Yeah. Oh dear. What happened to Nancy Drew? Anyway.
Veronica Mars.
Yeah.
Carmen Sandiego.
What about the Hardy Boys?
Jessica Jones.
Hey, anyhow, the
Where's
kids from
Mulder
the
and
Mystery
Scully?
Machine-
Where is Mulder and Scully? Come
If I
on.
don't see the kids from the Mystery Machine, there's a problem.
Yeah.
No Scooby-Doo.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, right. Thanks very much for joining us today, guys. Go on, Sash.
You know, Columbo was in an episode of Alias.
Was he?
Oh, was he?
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's been a while
Crossovers.
since I've seen those.
Yeah, there was a crossover.
Crossovers. All right, cool. Nice little bit of trivia to finish off with. All right, thanks very much for joining us, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Thank you for our listeners. I tried to wrap that up about 15 minutes ago, and then it just went on and on. So, sorry.
We talk film out here.
So that's it. This is what we do. We talk film. So thank you very much for listening. As always, please make sure you like and subscribe, and please share the video. Really appreciate it. And obviously, you can watch all our episodes on YouTube or any podcast platform. So take your pick. And thank you very much. And until next time, peace out.
Peace.
Peace.